Let's talk about egoism and self-interest and how the way we think about time can totally change our choices. So here's the big question. How do we balance what we want right now with what's actually good for us in the long run? This is a classic dilemma in ethics, and it pops up everywhere, from school to business to our personal lives. The two sides of self-interest. First, let's break down the two main ways we look at self-interest. Short-term egoism is all about instant gratification. It's that urge to go for what feels good right now, without worrying too much about the consequences. Think of it as making decisions on impulse, just to satisfy immediate desires. Long-term egoism is the opposite. Here, you're thinking ahead, considering how your choices today will affect you down the road. It's more strategic, more sustainable, and usually involves a bit more patience. The cheating scenario. Let's make this real with an example. Imagine you're a student under a ton of pressure to get good grades. The temptation to cheat is there. It seems like an easy way to score a higher grade without putting in the work. If you're thinking short term, cheating looks pretty appealing. You get the grade, you move on. But if you're thinking long term, you realize the risks. Getting caught means serious trouble, and even if you don't get caught, you're missing out on actually learning the material. And here's the thing. If you do face the consequences, you're probably going to rethink your choices next time. That's when long-term egoism starts to make a lot more sense. The business world, short-term versus long-term. This isn't just about school. In the business world, a lot of CEOs focus on short-term gains, like boosting stock prices for the next quarter. But here's the catch. Many executives don't stick around long enough to deal with the fallout of their decisions. The company's long-term health can suffer, and shareholders often end up paying the price for that short-sightedness. Natural resources, a lesson in time frames. Think about how we use natural resources. It's tempting to go for quick profits through aggressive harvesting. But if we only think short-term, we risk running out of resources and leaving future generations with environmental damage. Over time, those immediate gains dry up and everyone loses. Relationships, give and take. Now, let's talk about relationships. If you're always taking and never giving, you might get what you want in the moment, but people will catch on. They'll see you as selfish, and those relationships won't last. On the other hand, if you invest in others and show some consideration, you build trust and support that pays off in the long run. Real happiness often depends on the well-being of the people around us. The ultimatum game, why fairness matters. There's even a classic experiment called the ultimatum game that shows how this works. If you offer someone an unfair deal, they'll often reject it, even if it means they get nothing. Why? Because people care about fairness, and short-term selfishness usually backfires. This is true even with strangers, and it mirrors what happens in real life. If you're only out for yourself, others will push back. Key takeaways. So, what can we learn from all this? Try to expand your time frame. Think about how today's choices will affect your future self. Always consider the consequences, especially how your actions impact others and your reputation. Practice enlightened self-interest. Realize that your well-being is tied to the health of your community and relationships. Be consistent with your values and decisions. It builds trust and makes ethical choices easier. In short, balancing short-term and long-term self-interest isn't always easy, but it's crucial for making good decisions, whether you're dealing with school, business, the environment, or your personal life.